Hey YouTube, so I'm going to be replacing the alternator and the drive belt on the 2007 Toyota Yaris. Now I've already have the negative cable on the battery disconnected. I've already loosed this bolt that holds the that sits on the bracket that adjusts the tension on the belt. There's a bolt at the bottom right below. That bolt has to come out also. I just have that loose for now. I got a disconnector and take that nut off, take the wires off the alternator, and then go ahead and remove those bolts. So went ahead and used a 10mm to remove the bolt on the alternator, and also same 10mm for the battery terminal. Tuck that aside. And the alternator connector is actually a pinch type. You just squeeze the side and it unplugs, so it's in like so. You just squeeze that side, pull out, get the wire out of the way. I've already had this bolt loose, the top one for the adjuster. The bottom one is loose. Push it towards the rear of the car, all the way as far as it could go, like so. You could see the belt is now loose. Take the belt off. Just try to navigate it past the engine mount. The belt is off. And I suggest taking lots of pictures of the orientation of the belt. Just so it goes back on correctly. And now I gotta remove this bolt completely, and the bottom one. So I got the top bolt out completely. The bottom one is also out. The top is a 12mm. The bottom is 14. Much longer bolt. Now there's a trick to getting the bottom one out. The way it sits, it's gonna hit this bracket when you're trying to take it out. So this bracket is held on by a 10mm bolt right in the back there. The bolt is right, goes in here. So I took the 10mm out, slide this back, just kind of move it out of the way and slide it towards the front of the car. And I got enough clearance as to where this bolt would go straight out, and I was able to get it out in one piece. So now it's just to move the wires out of the way, pull the alternator forward, just rotate it, and once I get it far enough forward, then I get a small pry bar or a long screwdriver, and I get it between the alternator and the bracket, and I just pry it forward. And just keep doing that. Adjust the alternator if need be, like lift upwards while you're prying in the back right here, and it'll come right out. And it just slides straight up. Once you get the alternator out, it comes straight up. So now I'll take this, I'll match it up with the new one, make sure everything is, all the brackets, the connectors are all the same, and turn that, make sure I don't hear any noise. And installation is just the reverse of taking it off. So here we could see a comparison, the old one of course, the new one, same setup. Same connector, 4 pins, 4 pins. Put it to stand up. This one to stand up. The 2 holes, those line up, perfect. Everything matches up. Yep, matches up perfectly. So now just gotta get the one installed, start her up, making sure she's charging, and we're good to go. And by the way, just make sure, see on the old one there's a threaded nut right here. That's where the long bolt goes in this way, and it's screwed into this nut right here. Same thing on the new one. Make sure it has that nut. Bolt goes in, thread into it. I actually take the bolt and thread in while it's out, just to make sure it's the right thread. It always is, but just to make sure. And then there's this bracket. It's held on by this, looks like 8mm. Gotta transfer this bracket to our new alternator. It's just a bracket for the wire loom snap into, and the way we gotta do that, as far as I'm seeing, is take these bolts out, take this cover off, and then get that nut out, and the same on this one, and transfer the bracket. So these 8mm have to be removed, which is, let's see, this one, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then next, take this nut off. And this is a 10mm. We back this 10mm bolt out, so we could pick this little collar upwards. Once this is backed off a little bit, this nut, pull up on this piece right here, just to gain some room, and you just work this back cover off. You just gotta pull it up to work it off. on the old one, I took the old one apart already. So what I had to do was get a little screwdriver, a flathead, and I just wedged it on the bracket right there on that cover, and use a rubber mallet to tap that end. Then I put it on this side, use the rubber mallet, do this, and did the same. So actually this could be removed completely, and once you pick this far enough, then this plate just slides right out. You could see where it has that notch. So once it goes in, this holds it. If you get this to move far enough away from it, then the plate just slides right off. And now we just gotta get our bracket, take this bolt out, put the bracket on, tighten the bolt back on, put the cover on, put our 8mm back in, and they're not tight at all, so we don't have to go crazy super tighten it, just hand tight, and that's it. Now once you got everything back up, plugged in, belt back on, battery connected, it's just a matter of starting it up and let it run. Double check, make sure all your bolts are tight, the tension bolt and the bolt right below, make sure those bolts are secured, and the belt is not too loose, not too tight. You should have like maybe a 1/4 of an inch flex in the belt. So just reach in the back, get to the middle, push on it, and just judge the tension, tighten everything back up to spec, and you're good to go. Now don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.